Alright, hello everyone, it is AM Satellite, and today I'm here with a not live commentary on League of Legends. And yeah, this was supposed to be a live commentary. That's why you can see that I was turning the game's volume down, but for some reason my recording software did not pick up my microphone at all, so there was no commentary on the output video. And so that's why I'm here adding it right now. The reason why a commentary is really important on this video is that it's a video of me beating a Tryndamere in lane in a ranked game, and I've read a few people asking me for tips on how to beat Tryndamere, and I thought, well, I may as well just wait until I find one, because it's been, I don't know if it's all about the elo, but I believe so. But I haven't seen a Tryndamere in a while now, so it's not one of the most common picks I've ever I see normally in the top lane. So I am actually not really. I was a little surprised that I didn't manage to make this video earlier, but yeah, no Tryndamere's around, so that's how it's going. And before I get into the tips and tricks on how to beat Tryndamere, I just wanted to tell you that my videos are not going to be that frequent because unfortunately I'm in a 5th year class of high school, which means that I've got to deal with an exam, and this means that all the way until by around half July I am not going to be able to upload a lot of videos because I will have close to no time because I'll have to study, prepare the exam and whatnot. So yeah. Now, as you guys can see, because my jungler wanted to start with the Gromp in the top lane, I had to give him a pull, which unfortunately makes the tactic that is necessary to beat Tryndamere a little harder to do. Now, how does Tryndamere? Let's just go over a few of the main strength points of Tryndamere and his weaknesses in the early game. Now, a strong point of Tryndamere in the early game is the fact that if he generates Fury, he deals critical strike. He has a free critical strike chance, which means that he is capable of dealing a lot more damage than he would normally do, just because he accumulates his Fury. And as you can see, this damage counts towards his E, which is Spinning Slash. It's his main tool of engaging, and it counts towards his basic attacks, which are his main tool of to damage enemy champions. So you can kind of see that he is dealing a lot of damage, but right now he's depleted all his Fury bar to heal himself up. So his strength points are sustain, because thanks to his Q he is capable of sustaining lots of damage, and he has the ability to recover from a fight, and that's one of the main strength points Tryndamere has in the early game. It's not that big of a deal in the late game because he's going to just lifesteal lots of damage, but in the early game it's really important. Now, as you can see, you must start with 5 pots and a cloth armor because you need to be able to heal up the damage and to never get low, because if you get low you're going to risk it, because his basic attacks are inconsistent, because due to Fury he does not always deal the same amount of damage with every basic attack. He is capable of dealing more damage on basic attacks thanks to Fury, because he gets critical strike chance, So his strength points are empowered basic attacks thanks to Fury, and empowered and the ability to sustain thanks to Fury, because if he has a full Fury bar, he's able to just trade with you using his critical strikes, and then he just heals up all the damage, or well, not all the damage, but a decent portion of the damage that you dealt to him. So you can kind of get an idea on why Tryndamere is a hard matchup for many people. But the problem is, and this is one of his weak points, is that Tryndamere, as pretty much every auto attacker in the game, has a very strong late game, tends to be quite weak in the early game. He's not as powerful as he is late, and you need to abuse this as an AD caster, because Garen is not really basic attack focused. He's more focused on and I didn't kill him there because there were too many of his minions, and I would have just died because of minion damage if I did, so that's why I disengaged. So alright, so as you can see, this Lee Sin is going to miss a huge amount of skill shots on me, but he is going to get the kill in this situation. So let's get back to the topic. So Garen is not a basic attack based champion, which is a strength in the early game, because you don't necessarily, well, you still have to get up close and personal to your enemies, but that does not mean that you have to that does not mean that you need to take the full damage from their bursts, because you deal burst damage. So it's not like you're going to have really long trades. It's all the time it takes for you to silence your opponents and to use your judgment on them, and the trade is over. And if you use your shield well, and by the way, as you can see, I did a mistake and I put a point into my W, which is terrible. But in this case, I'm not going to pay too much the price for this mistake, because Tryndamere, as I said, is a basic attack based champion, which means that his trades are rather long, so having a longer amount, having the shield up for longer could help you, but I still would not recommend you spend points in W early, because it's really a waste of points. It really is a waste of points. As this Zac is going to try and help me a lot, and I really appreciate that, because he's not only is he a good Zac, he is also very nice. He was also very nice and kind, and I can't really complain about it. So, as you can see, this Tryndamere healed up quite the damage. And one thing Tryndameres will do often is they will make you dive them, and they will either ult or simply heal the damage, so that you take a ridiculous amount of damage from the tower and end up dying to that. Now, as you can see, this gank puts me at the advantage, but the trade was already going well. So you guys can see that in the early game, the damage you and Tryndamere deal is rather similar, but while the lane goes on, you're going to deal a lot more and take a lot less, because you get armor, which is what, as you can see, I did. As you can see, I've bought two cloth armors, and I've completed my Warden's Mail, which basically that ends up giving me a huge power. And as you can see, I'm going to just kill him. I used the ignite on him, but it was kind of a waste, because he would have died anyway. And it's really all about it. I mean, if you guys can't deal with him in the early game, which I did, as you can see, he had to back off and use teleport to get back into lane quick prior to the Lee Sin gank, which still ended up with me killing him anyway. Once you get back into lane, you're too strong for him. You're really too strong, because you are too tanky for him to deal damage, and your damage will still be enough to outtrade his basic attacks. Now, once this is true up until a certain point of the game, but in the early game, in the laning phase, there is no way you can lose. It's too hard. It's impossible that you lose against Tryndamere, unless you really give him 2 or 3 kills before you get level 6. Now, it's important to get level 6 before he does, because once he gets it, it can kind of counter your ultimate, unless you time your ignite well, which is very, very important. Because, well, in that case, I used it as soon as I ulted, because, he didn't have level 6, so there was no point into me lingering. I just wanted to secure the kill and get him off the lane so I could farm a little more. And once you get the Warden's Mail and another cloth armor, or potentially the Ninja Tabby, which we're going to talk about a little bit later, you can pretty much stay in lane without even bothering, because you have so much armor. He's going to need a ridiculous amount of damage to kind of pierce it. But since Tryndamere builds critical strike chance, he's not going to be able to deal that. He's never going to get the advantage he needs. And as you can see, this is true and evident, because he's being perma-zoned, and he loses trade. He's losing all the trades, and I take no damage from him, which is pretty much, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It seems evident to me that it's really I have an advantage in lane thanks to my armor, which is mainly really what you want to do. So in the early game, we're going to abuse the fact that he needs to basic attack you in order to deal damage, and every time he tries to engage, he uses his spinning slash on you. You either silence him if you're level 1, or you completely burst him down if you're level 2, because you can use your Q and your E, and that will be no problem, So you can do that. And as you can see, I'm keeping my ultimate because I don't want to waste it on him while he's invincible. And he's going to lose his invincibility now in a bit, and I think I'm going to kill him again. I'm not 100% sure. So this Zac was really risking it, and I kind of wasted my ultimate there, because I could have probably killed him with Judgment, but that would have meant taking a lot of tower damage, and your ultimate exists for this very reason. Plus, after the latest patch, it's been buffed because they've reduced the cooldown on it, so it's no point into lingering under their tower for so long, risking death for no reason. And as you can see, I was pinged to get away. I honestly got overconfident because I thought my tankiness would have saved me, my shield would have saved me, especially because I had a second point into my shield, but that was crazy. Anne is a really, really strong champion, and I completely underestimated her, and I got what I deserved, and I'm talking about my death. So let's get back into the tips and tricks. So let's quickly recap what we've said so far. Tryndamere is strengths are sustain and critical strike chance. Those two things give him a lot of strength in the laning phase. But since Garen is able to just annihilate his damage thanks to W, a proper use of your shield and a good burst every time he tries to engage on you, no matter what you're doing, only make sure the minions are not in his favor, because if he has too many minions, you're risking death. But always burst him down. Like if he engages on you, if he starts fighting on you, just burst him down, hit him hard, because he's going to take more damage than you take if you use your W properly. Because I mean, many people speak about Garen as a spin to win champion, and it's true in a way, but your W is really what makes you win trades, because you deal a lot of damage, but it's not that big of a deal like Tryndamere or like Darius and people like that deal more damage than you do. And as you can see right here, I'm going to chase him down, and I pay him off with an ignite. He's not gonna die, I think. I think he's not gonna die because he just heals up with his Q. But he's still he's off the lane again, and I can take that because I'm a very good. Garen is very good at breaking down towers, and since I've gotten already 3 kills on him, he's not worth that much money anyway. So not that big of a deal. And there you go. As you can see, I'm going to destroy the turret right here, and I'll completely ignore Lee Sin's damage. And then I'm going to proceed into trying to burst him down, but this is not going to end up well, because he just runs away. But I think it's still proof of how good Garen can be, and how strong he can be in lane, because his shield is really really the edge he gets in laning phase. So again, when Tryndamere engages, always hit him hard, and do not make sure you time your shield well. If you see his fury bar is not even close to being full, don't bother using your shield. It's stupid, because he does not deal that much damage with basic attacks. He's more focused on critical strikes. So just wait for his fury bar to go and fall, and then use the shield, because that's the moment when you really want to shield up some of the damage that he deals. You know, that's really all about it. There's nothing else you need to take care of. And as you can see, this Lee Sin missed another skill shot. This is a bad situation for me, because it's a 2v1 right now, and I don't even remember why I'm lingering so much. But I think I'm finally getting back to my base. So yeah. So this was a quick overview on which are the main strengths and weaknesses in Tryndamere. So his weakness is the need to always risk taking your full burst damage in laning phase. Like a Tryndamere is forced to fight against you unless he keeps his spinning slash. But if you silence him, he's still going to take a ridiculous amount of damage while you spin. So you know, it's hard for Tryndamere to beat Garen. That's what I'm saying. Like many Tryndamere people know that Tryndamere ends up outscaling Garen, but another epic miss by Lee Sin. But in the early game, you need to win. That's why. So in the early game, like in the real beginning of the laning phase, it's alright to just it is alright to play defensively, but just you always. And then here we go. I die again because 3 people just like that. But meanwhile, the rest of my team is doing a good job in the other lanes, so I'm not really worried about that too much. Because Cho'Gath is already big, you know, it's good. It's not a bad situation, even though I'm 3-3-0 with just 69 farms. So it's not that big of a great game, but I believe that the whole point of this video was to guide you on how to beat Tryndamere, because that's really what I wanted to do with this video. So that's why I'm going to stop talking about the game and keep talking about Tryndamere. So yeah, the reason why I would try to zone Tryndamere, even though it's not really easy in the early game, is because if he has the potential to hit your minions, he's gonna be able to just get his fury bar up, and he will get more critical strike chance, which is bad. Like if you are able to keep him at low critical strike chance, you get a huge advantage. Like it's really useful to be able to zone him and keep him off your minions. That way you can just you can pretty much prevent him from not only you prevent him from farming, you actually prevent him from using his sustain and being able to get more damage onto his burst. And I believe that's really one of the main things that you can do to prevent Tryndamere from being powerful. So with that being said, we can get back to I can get back to talk about armor. Now, building armor is really important. Now, what can you do when you go back? You always start with a cloth armor, so that's one thing you need to always have. Start with a cloth armor because it's really important. And once you get back to base, you can either transform that into a ninja tabi or a what's it called? A warden's mail. Either is good. Because why? Because ninja tabi is movement speed, and it can be nice if Tryndamere is decent at disengaging. And if he disengages on you, you can pretty much catch up to him thanks to your decisive strike mixed with the extra speed you get from the from the um, from the from the what's it called from the ninja tabi. Alright, so I was a little distracted because I was looking at the video here and I didn't remember me flashing in to destroy that Annie. I was probably just seeking revenge because she ganked me earlier, but whatever. So let's get back to what we were talking about. Ninja Tab is important because the movement speed is good to catch up to him, but the real bonus is that you block 10% of the damage from basic attacks. Now, I don't know if you get it, but that's a ridiculous good thing, because not only will you get 25 armor, which will be empowered thanks to your passive bonus from the W, but it'll also block a flat amount of damage from every basic attack he lands on you. So I mean, once you got Ninja Tabi, you're really powerful. Then Warden's Mail is generally the best bet against basic attack based top laners like Jax, Tryndamere, because you will be able to really lower the speed at which they deal the damage. And it's really good. It's really important that you do that, and that you have the ability to do that. So what basically happens is, not only will they deal less damage to you thanks to armor and the 10% block, they will also be completely unable to output the burst they should burst. They should output. Sorry, that was a misspell, pretty big misspell, because they see their attack speed slow down due to Warden's Mail. So that's really one of the main. It's really important to keep in mind. So once you get one of those two items, even just one already gives you a huge edge in the fight, except for, well, maybe Warden's Mail gives you a little bit of a bigger edge because you get a lot more armor, and since your passive boost is just so amazing and so great, it's very nice to have that. And as you can see, Tryndamere is a split pusher, so I'm going to have a lot of trouble into trying to contain him and keep him off our base. If I'm not mistaken, he's even going to manage to get one of our inhibitors by split pushing, but we were beating his teammates' asses in the meanwhile, so he really didn't achieve that much overall. But yeah, he wasn't that bad of a player, but as I said, it's impossible to lose against Tryndamere with Garen. So I'm really surprised. Many people ask me why and how to beat Tryndamere in lane, because it's really all there is about it is prevent him from getting his full fury bar and building some armor. Like, if you see that things are getting rough, just back off, buy armor, and get back into lane. There's no point into risking the feed, give him free kills if you can just get back into your lane with a little more armor and get a permanent advantage against him for pretty much the whole rest of the laning phase. So just do that. If you're really having so much trouble, which by the way you shouldn't have, just proceed. Just go on and get some armor, and that's it. You really don't have to do all that much. It's all about it, really. Alright, so that's why I would normally prefer buying Warden's Mail, because it's also very useful against AD carries, as it allows you to it allows you to really decrease their power in the mid game, and their power in the mid game is already usually not that big, because AD carries are late game champions, just like Tryndamere. So while you're a great mid game champion, they are not that great as well as Tryndamere is not that great, and you can basically abuse your power against them once you get some armor. So as you can see, you can kind of see. I mean, I'm 5-3-0 with 98 farm. It's not that big of a deal, really. It's not that big of a game. I'm not dominating. I'm not carrying. I'm not doing anything special. I'm just playing the average ranked game in which you don't feed and you don't get fed. and I'm still, I mean, it looks like I have a huge advantage. Like when I fight against them, it almost seems like I have a ridiculously bigger advantage. Like it seems like I'm so much stronger. And as you can see, I'm just 3v1. They're dealing damage, they're doing things, and I'm not, I don't think I'm going to survive. Yeah, I'm going to survive. And as you can see, like it looks like I have a huge advantage, which I don't have at all because I'm just 5-3-0. It's not big, it's not a big deal. So you know, you kind of get, you kind of get the point, right? That's really, it's really evident that your mid-game power is what you need to abuse on. And your mid-game power is very similar to the power you get in the early game as an AD caster. So, you know, I don't know how you can lose against Tryndamere. I swear to God, I can't figure it out. I just, I just can't. It's my bad, but I just can't. Really. So, let's quickly recap again. Alright. Zoning from minions to prevent sustain and critical strike chances. Um, get some armor if you're in trouble. Back off and get some armor. No point in risking death. If you can just back off, get some armor, get back into lane and stomp his face up. Every time he gets close to you, abuse your burst. Beat his ass, because you deal more damage. Just wait, in case he's a good Tryndamere or he has a full Fury bar, just wait till level 3 and then do it so you can use your shield to win the trade. Just abuse your power, abuse your burst, and he's going to be overwhelmed by your strength. He is going to be overwhelmed. I mean, it's impossible to lose against Tryndamere if you use your burst well and, you know, all that stuff well. So yeah, and then I think we're pretty much done. I mean, oh well, there's a few more tips that I need to give you about abilities, because what Tryndamere can do is he can become invincible thanks to his very strong ultimate and noob-like ultimate. Now, it counters yours. It's true. I mean, it's a matter of fact. Tryndamere's ultimate counters other people's ultimate, like Garen's ultimate, Darius' ultimate, Cho'Gath's ultimate. You know, those ultimates are countered by it. But you have Ignite. I normally always bring Ignite in a solo queue. But if you don't have Ignite, you can just proceed and and wait until he uses his invincibility. Because I mean, you will outtrade him so hard, and that's a matter of fact. You outtrade him really hard. You can outtrade him so hard that you are capable of just waiting until his ultimate finishes before you use yours. But let's get to the situation, to how you should use that when you do have Ignite, and you should take it, because you know you can prevent him from sustaining and that stuff. So it's really useful. You should take Ignite against Tryndamere. So if you have Ignite, what you can do is you can use your ultimate and see if he survives it. If he survives it, you wait a little. You need to basic attack him if you don't have any of your abilities ready. If you have your abilities ready, deal damage to him using your abilities, or potentially Sunfire, which you shouldn't build against Tryndamere because Warden's Mail is much more useful than the Chain Vest against him. But whatever, you can do what you want. I'm just telling you a few of the scenarios you might be in, and you know, just trying to portray most of the possible situations you might be in. So you wait and deal a little bit more damage so that you keep him at either 10, 20 HP once his ultimate has ticked for 2 or 3 seconds, because it lasts about 5 or 6 seconds. I'm not sure. I think it's 5 seconds. I'm not sure on that. I should check that out, but you guys can check it out. You can just wait for about a little bit before half the duration of his ultimate, then you use Ignite. Now, this will prevent him from healing up completely, because his Q will have a Malice on it. It will lose power, it will lose strength, and you know that's just very good, because it loses strength and he's not able to heal all the damage. And the Ignite will potentially kill him. Now, this is not safe. He may survive, unfortunately. It is possible for Tryndamere to survive in this situation. It is possible. But it's not necessarily true. And as you can see, I just got out of a really sticky situations while getting a kill on Annie. So you can see why Garen's mid game is just amazing, regardless of how things are actually going. So you always want to, abuse his mid game. So as you can see, Tryndamere gets the tower and I get him, which is very good. But yeah, as I said, you can just wait for his ultimate to tick a little bit, and once it reaches half its duration, you use your ignite. He's probably going to die. The chance of him dying gets bigger as the levels grow higher, because ignite gets more power. But I mean, even if he doesn't die, he's off the lane. What a Tryndamere will do is abuse his ultimate and then heal up so he can keep fighting. In this situation, Tryndamere just has to get off, because he has no fury, because he has used it to save himself from ignite, and he will not have the ability to fight because he has no fury. So it's really all that. It's all you need to know about Tryndamere, about winning against Tryndamere. And I've actually got to say something to you that might not be common, but I've actually seen a lot of Tryndamere being surprised by my ultimate. What do I mean? I mean that they did not expect my ultimate to go off, and they got killed by it without being able to use their ultimates in time. And that's pretty good. That's pretty. When that happens, you don't even have to use ignite, and it's overall that nice. So now, as you can see, my team is doing well, so I am able to split push, and the reason why I split push is because I just want to prove myself useful as much as Tryndamere. The reason why I'm now engaging on the enemy team is because they were having fights and stuff. So I'm just, as you can see, I'm going to get one. I actually used ignite on how's it called, on Thresh, but unfortunately it did not work out because Morgana stole the kill. Then I got a kill on Tryndamere, and I also killed Annie thanks to my ultimate. So yeah, and she with all this the pyro shield or whatever it's called. So as you can see, Garen's ultimate is not really as much underpowered as people think. It's just countered by magic resist and all that. So it's true, it is countered by magic resistance, but I still find it very strong and useful, especially against tanks, because you can spare a lot of time, and it's really nice. So as you can see, I take no damage because I'm tanky. What's new on that? Nothing is new on that, but whatever. It's still pretty nice. So yeah, I think I'm done with the tips and tricks on how to beat Tryndamere. I think I'm done. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe something will come to my mind in a little bit, but I mean, I think I've told you everything you probably had to know. I mean, his weaknesses in the early game, his strengths in the early game, his weaknesses in the late game, his strengths in the late game. Even though there's not really, I must say, there's not really I can't really think of a weakness in the late game, if not the fact that if he wastes his engage on the wrong person, he dies because he's quite squishy. But I mean, he's very strong in the late game, so I mean, it's not that big of a deal. Oh yeah, there is something I can talk about that I didn't talk about yet. Let's say for some reason, and I don't want any of you writing me that you did this, because I mean, you have to win against Tryndamere. It's impossible to lose. Just do what I did and listen to my suggestions, and you will almost never lose against him. As you can see, he's just running away from me. So let's say you did not manage to beat his ass in the laning phase. Alright, let's just say that happened. If that happened, he is very strong and you are quite behind. What can you do to win, to prevent him from being a beast and beating your team's ass? You can buy Thornmail. You should buy that regardless, because Thornmail is just very good when you have a top laner based on attack speed and basic attack damage, because Thornmail is always useful in a game due to AD carries existing in the bottom lane. But if you also have a top laner that's basic attack based, you will still, it's even better. I mean, there's almost no point into not taking that. unless you see both the AD carry and Tryndamere are behind, which is the current situation, because they're both behind. I mean, Severe was not doing that great of a job, really, while we were doing that great of a job, and our AD carry was doing a great job. But you know, you kind of get the idea. The Thornmail is just very nice because it makes you, in a way, it forces the enemies to engage other people. But since you're Garen and you are going to try looking for 1v1s, I believe it's still very useful to just to use it, to buy it. And as you can see, what's gonna happen now is I wasted my flash, and unfortunately I wasted my flash because I wanted to chase him. I thought I was gonna reach him, but I didn't, so I basically wasted it, and that's pretty sad. But at least I saved the inhibitor, which is really what the ultimate thing I wanted to do. So yeah. So a Thornmail can help you get back to him, because he's going to take damage both by your damage, because your E deals damage, and your Q, you know, but it will take your burst, as well as the damage he deals from his basic attacks is going to be returned on him. So I really hardly see Tryndamere winning against Garen, unless he ults properly and you waste yours. In that case, you may lose against him in the late game, but still, you're so tanky because you get a Thor, because you've got a lot of armor, and you are really strong because you have the the Black Cleaver, and you deal a lot of damage. So he's not going to be damaging you too much, and he is going to oh, and this scene here is epic. Now, before I get back to the topic, as you can see, I'm beating their inhibitor, and I'm completely ignoring Thresh like he didn't exist at all. And you know, that's obvious because I'm so tanky. So I'm basically hitting the inhibitor. Then the enemy AD carry comes. I get exhausted. I get CC'd. I get ulted by both of them. Shit, Persevere's probably gonna ult. Then I get out of here. I survive. Then I turn around and I kill Thresh. Boom. I mean, how cool was that? I take an inhibitor. I ignore the damage from two people, including the AD carry, and then I kill one of them and I hop away, while still getting the inhibitor. I mean, how cool is that? How fucking cool is that? I mean, I love this. It's amazing. It's just brilliant. It is brilliant. But well, let's get back to the topic. Alright, let's keep depicting all of the possible situations. As you can see, I'm building a Thornmail. Alright, let's say you are still unable to beat Tryndamere in the late game, because he deals too much damage, because he has a Last Whisper and he penetrates your armor, and you know, that kind of stuff. Whatever, let's just say that's the situation. In that case, buy Warmugs. Now, let's quickly think of a situation, of a 1v1 situation, of you fighting against Tryndamere. You're fighting him, you're using your burst, so he takes the damage from your burst, and he takes the damage from the Thornmail. And while you take the damage from him, you take critical strikes, you take basic attacks without critical strikes, you take all you can take, you take all the stuff, and you know, you can take it, and you're getting that damage. A part of your armor will still block the damage, because I mean, he gets 30% armor penetration thanks to Last Whisper, and in case he also has the masteries, he gets about 36% armor penetration thanks to masteries, so he gets a total of 36% armor penetration, as I said. And you know, that's a pretty good amount of armor penetration. But not only will he take damage from the basic attacks he deals to you, he will also take the damage from your burst in the meanwhile. And after that, you also have your ultimate, and he has his ultimate, but as I said, a tactic with Ignite will make you able to survive. So, I mean, what else do I have to say? If you have a Warmugs, he's going to penetrate the armor, he's going to deal more damage, but he will still lose the trade, because you have so much health that he will not be able to do as much. I mean, part of the damage gets mitigated by the ridiculous amount of your health. A part of it also gets sent back to the attacker, to him, because you have a Thornmail. And then you've gotten so much health that he's also unable to kill you, while you do deal damage to him. Sure, he has lifesteal. He heals back the damage. He can also use Bloodlust to just get more damage, to get more health back. But you're still too tanky for him. I never lose a 1v1 against Tryndamere in the late game, unless he's just ahead. If he's ahead, you may be able to, you may lose it. But I mean, you shouldn't really go 1v1 Tryndamere to kill him. You should go 1v1 to just prevent him from split pushing. And I did this a couple of times in this video, and it worked. I mean, I never died to him, even if he got ganked. So yeah. So that's pretty much it. So let's quickly go over an ideal build if you have Tryndamere against. Alright. So Ninja Tabi is mandatory. Even if you want Mercury Strength, because Tenacity is good, but against Tryndamere, coupled with an AD carry who surely deals damage with basic attacks, you need to block the 10% damage. You absolutely need to do that. Look at this. 5-man chasing me, and I still get out of there, thanks to Randu and Zoman. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah. So the ideal build. The ideal build is Ninja Tabi. You must have those. The Black Cleaver is your must. Is your go-to damage item. You can't skip it. Then you need, if the enemies do have at least one AP-based champion, I still recommend you get the Spirit Visage, because it boosts your passive and whatnot, and you know it's very useful. Then you get a Thornmail, absolutely, and a Warmogs. So we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items. Your 6th item can either be a Randu and Zoman if you want more armor, or if you got a Warden's Mail in the early game, or you can get another damage item depending on the matchup. So you know you can also do that. You can get a Yomu's Gustblade or a Last Whisper if you see that you're not useful to the team, because you are counter building Tryndamere, but you also want to make sure you have all the tools necessary to help your teammates against the rest of the enemy team members. So you get that, or you can simply get a Randu and Zoman, so you get more armor. With this build, I really hardly see Tryndamere winning against you. Really, because you have all the tools necessary to kill him, and I assure you will still end up useful to your team in all the rest of the situations, because you're tanky, you deal damage. I mean, you're still Garen. I mean, even if you counter build for Tryndamere, you're still Garen, and you still have all the potential you need. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys find it useful, and I hope the people who asked me for tips on Tryndamere will manage to win their lanes in the future. See you all until next time.